Hi, my name is Jolene Piper, and today I will be giving a brief overview from the course Assemblies of God, History, Missions, and Governance. In April 1914, 300 people comprised of pastors and evangelists gathered in Hot Springs, Arkansas. They spent 4 days in prayer seeking the Lord for direction. They knew that they were gathered there for something special. A new fellowship was being birthed. In essence, this was like the first General Council, because it was at these meetings that the General Council officially got their name, the Assemblies of God. The Assemblies of God does not consider itself a denomination, but rather a cooperative fellowship. While the Assemblies of God was born out of revival, priority is placed on evangelism, church planting, and missions. It was at the first General Council in 1914 that 5 key issues were addressed. So what are those 5 key issues? Well, first, we have the agreement of doctrine. 2, conservation of the work. 3, facilitating foreign missions. 4th, chartering churches in accordance with the law. And 5th, the formation of Bible training schools. Now, addressing these 5 issues at that General Council helped to create unity within the fellowship by establishing accountability for doctrine and for morals. It was at the General Council in 1916 that the council approved the statements of fundamental truths. Now, these fundamental truths gave clarity of the Assemblies of God's position on the deity of Christ and the Trinity. After the Assemblies of God was officially established in 1914, headquarters with a small printing operation was established in Finnederry, Ohio. And then in 1915, the headquarters moved to St. Louis, Missouri, and then 1918, the headquarters moved once again to Springfield, Missouri, and that's where headquarters reside to this day. The Assemblies of God is a multi-ethnic and international movement. During the early years, brotherly love spread across racial lines, but in time, those lines were drawn again. In 1948, an organization for the Pentecostal denomination was formed, and this was called the Pentecostal Fellowship of North America. The members of this group were mostly white, and racial lines were being drawn, and the predominantly white Assembly of God churches did nothing to take a stand against it. But as recent as 1994, the realization that there needed to be healing within the Pentecostal churches was revealed. Racial reconciliation and forgiveness was needed. At a meeting held on October 18, 1994, the Pentecostal Fellowship of North America was dissolved. And it was at these meetings that reconciliation began. A white pastor, Donald Evans, approached the platform. He believed that the Holy Spirit was leading him to wash the feet of Bishop Clemens. He was a black pastor, and Donald Evans knew that he needed to ask forgiveness against all the black pastors, the blacks in general, for the sins that the white ministers had done. This event was known as the Memphis Miracle. This was a step towards racial reconciliation within the Assembly of God Fellowship. In 1995, the General Council resolved to encourage the inclusion of black men and women throughout every part of their fellowship. In 1994, the Assemblies of God was 80 years old. This was the year that this Memphis Miracle happened, and it was also the year of the first worldwide conference. And this conference took place in Seoul, Korea. There were 134 nations represented at this conference, and missions was highlighted. Today, the Assemblies of God is 110 years old. Many of the members, people who attend our Assembly of God churches, are 3rd and 4th generation Pentecostals. Statistics tells us that there are churches in 255 countries, territories, and provinces. And this includes approximately 365 churches and 388,000 ministers. It's estimated that every 29 seconds, one new believer is added to the church, and every 63 minutes, a church is planted, and every 43 minutes, a new minister is enlisted. Thanks to all of the pioneers of our movement who listened to the leading of the Holy Spirit 110 years ago, the Assemblies of God now is the largest Pentecostal organization in the world, with an estimated worldwide adherent of over 62 million people. May we all respond and be faithful to the call of the Lord, just as those 300 men and women did in April 1914. And just like these pioneers, you will never know what God will do with your yes and the impact that your obedience will have on a community in the world in which we live. What an honor we have to reap the benefits of a wonderful fellowship known as the Assembly of God. Thank you for listening, and let's never forget those who paved the way.